What would happen if global temperature dropped to the Ice Age era? Imagine waking up one morning and finding out that the average global temperature has plummeted by several degrees, enough to push Earth back into conditions similar to the last Ice Age. The blue oceans, are now dotted with expanding ice sheets. Snow falls far beyond the polar regions and a deep chill blankets continents. What would such a sudden and drastic change mean for our planet, our ecosystems, and human civilization? Let's take a journey into this icy future. The Ice Age was indeed just a time of cold. It was a complete transformation of Earth's climate system. Massive ice sheets, sometimes kilometers thick, covered North America, Europe, and parts of Asia. Glaciers advanced over vast areas, grinding rock beneath them and reshaping landscapes. In this scenario, if global temperatures dropped to Ice Age levels tomorrow, the Arctic and Antarctic would expand rapidly. And within decades, snow would persist year-round in areas that are now lush green fields. Coastal cities like New York, London, Shanghai wouldn't be underwater from sea level rise. Instead, they would be buried under relentless snow and ice. The drop in temperature would be catastrophic for agriculture. Today's farming systems are finely tuned to the climate zones we have. But in an Ice Age scenario, growing seasons would shorten dramatically. Crops like wheat, rice, and maize would fail in much of their current growing regions. Farmers would be forced to adapt by shifting production to warmer regions near the equator, but these areas would face overcrowding and competition for limited fertile land. Food shortages could become widespread, sparking global economic collapse and mass migrations. Oceans, too, would undergo radical changes. As more water becomes locked in expanding glaciers, sea levels would drop by more than 100 meters over thousands of years. Shallow seas would transform into dry land, creating new land bridges between continents. Species that were once separated by water could migrate. But this could also introduce new predators and diseases into fragile ecosystems. The ocean circulation would also change, potentially disrupting marine food chains and fisheries that billions of people rely on today. The animal kingdom would face a new struggle for survival. Many species that thrive in warm climates would face extinction, unable to adapt quickly enough. Polar bears, reindeer, and other cold-adapted animals might expand their range, while tropical species would shrink into small refuges near the equator. Human-wildlife conflicts could intensify as we compete for the same dwindling resources. Even humans would have to adapt physiologically over generations, possibly becoming more robust to endure the cold, much like our Ice Age ancestors. Energy demand would skyrocket as billions of people require heating to survive. Fossil fuel usage might spike, worsening air quality and further destabilizing weather patterns. Though ironically, the colder temperatures would slow down the greenhouse effect. Renewable energy systems might struggle. Solar power would be less effective under thick cloud cover and snow. While wind patterns would shift unpredictably, nations might race to develop nuclear and geothermal power as more reliable energy sources in the frozen world. Social and political structures would also be tested to their limits. Entire countries might become uninhabitable, forcing governments to relocate populations. Borders could become flashpoints as millions seek refuge in more temperate regions. Water scarcity could emerge in areas dependent on glacier meltwater, while other regions might face excessive flooding during brief summer thaws. International cooperation or conflict would determine whether humanity survives. The transition peacefully or falls into chaos. Science and technology would be pushed to innovate rapidly. Greenhouses could become massive, high-tech hubs for growing food in controlled environments, possibly even underground. Advances in climate engineering, like massive mirrors in space to redirect sunlight or targeted melting of ice caps, might be considered to bring temperatures back to stable levels. But these geoengineering efforts would carry huge risks, potentially triggering even more unpredictable climate swings. Over centuries, human civilization could adapt to the new normal. Cities might be built beneath domes or inside insulated megastructures to protect against the cold. Transportation systems could evolve into enclosed, heated networks, connecting surviving population centers. Our culture might change to festivals celebrating rare warm days, clothing styles optimized for insulation, and architecture designed to retain every bit of heat. The human spirit has survived countless challenges, and in this icy future, survival would once again be the greatest driver of innovation. But one question remains: how would this new ice age eventually end? Past ice ages lasted tens of thousands of years, driven by shifts in Earth's orbit and tilt. Unless triggered by a specific event, like a massive volcanic eruption or asteroid impact, the frozen world could remain locked in place for millennia. Humanity might adapt so thoroughly that future generations would consider the cold not a catastrophe, but simply the way the world is. And perhaps thousands of years from now, when the ice finally retreats, they will look at the thawing Earth with the same wonder we now reserve for stories of ancient times. The idea of an ice age returning is both terrifying and fascinating. It reminds us how fragile our climate balance is, and how dependent we are on just a few degrees of warmth for the stability of our civilization. Whether caused by natural cycles or human interference, a drop in global temperature to ice age levels would fundamentally reshape life on Earth. And in the face of such a change, our greatest strengths, adaptability, cooperation, and ingenuity, would be tested like never before.